My name is Marc Parham, and you're here today to start talking about, I'm going to talk to you about how to start a business. Before I get started, I'd like to talk about a few things that I think are important, that you have the right mindset to start a business. And so it's about 5 things I'm going to go through, and then I'm going to start the presentation, all right? Now, the first thing I want to talk about is entrepreneurship revisited. A lot of times, as you're starting out and have a business, you're thinking about starting it, and you think it's daunting, and it's a lot of work, but I want you to think back to like when I was growing up. All my adults, my father, my grandfather, and grandmother all had businesses. They were always doing something. My grandmother did hair for 30 years. I didn't look at it as a business. She just always did hair. And while she was doing hair, my grandfather was fixing on cars. And I don't know what we called it, small business, getting it, handing your responsibilities, or whatever it was. They were doing it. And a lot of them didn't have education. They had dedication to handle their responsibilities. But all of a sudden, we started getting educated, and they came up with these big words like entrepreneurship and small business owner, and it started confusing a lot of people, thinking that it's not something that they could do. But I just think back when I was growing up, watching my grandparents and my father. He was the hospital administrator, but he still, on the weekends, either was a janitor or he used to do EKGs. They always were doing something. My mom was an RN, but she was doing visiting nurses. They all had 2 jobs all the time. They didn't know that they couldn't do it. Okay, so I want you to keep that in mind when we start thinking about entrepreneurship. Everybody trusted each other. Everybody went to Miss Johnson for her cakes, and we just all worked together in our communities, and we kind of gotten away from that. That's why the big stores like Walmart could even invade. It used to be, didn't matter if it was outside the community, you didn't buy it. You bought it from people you knew. But things have changed. So I want you to think about that. I want you to also realize that with the economy, what happened in 2008 when everything crashed, everybody lost all their money, some people didn't. Corporations didn't. Okay? So a lot of people that were working in corporate America invested all their 401ks and all this stuff. All of a sudden, they're out, all their money, and corporations keep going on and on and on. But now in order to bring the economy back, they're banking on small business doing it. And they're banking on the fact that for every business that gets started, if you last 3 years, you'll probably, come on in, Brooke, you'll probably end up hiring somebody to clone yourself and at least somebody to handle your books or do administrative stuff. So that's 3 jobs. So we start 100 businesses. You multiply that times 3, or you take 1,000. So they're counting on small business to bring the economy back. They're counting on it so much that I do a lot of advocating for small business and finding money to help businesses get started. Back in October, I even go to Washington and do this. I got called to the White House to meet with the president during that shutdown. He wants to know how small business people were taking it. And I told him that basically we watched 13 people shut down the government. And so our trust is really not there. I was packaging people for SBA loans, and so, but he said he wasn't going to back down, and he didn't, and they settled it. But we realize now that it can happen. Okay, and so it's even more important that you start businesses so you can have your own way of making money, even if you have a job. We're going to go into some of that tonight. So it's important, in 3 years you'll have 3 employees, in 5 years you'll have 5 employees. That's what they're banking on. So it's important that you realize how important what now is the time to try to start a business, because they are creating a lot of organizations that will start funding small businesses. Something else that's important about small businesses, when you start your small business, you can't do everything yourself, so you have to start learning how to collaborate with other small businesses in your community. I spoke in Macon last week, and you have to understand that when you decide to cross your county line to buy something, you just gave away your tax dollars. Okay? Just flicked it away. And when you call somebody from outside the county line to come into your county to do work, you give them the money, and guess what they do? They take your tax dollars away again. Okay? So all the things for school improvement and roads and all those things we want in our communities, that's why when these big box stores started coming, every time you go into Walmart, you just give the money away. Instead of giving it to somebody in your community, they can do the same thing. So what we're trying to advocate is, kind of a 5% solution. Just start using each other a little bit more. And the whole goal is really showing you how to run an effective business and do quality. I know we complain about customer service, but it's not getting any better out there. So we might as well bring it home, okay? The other thing that's important is that even though this workshop is free, that you learn to invest in yourself. A lot of times I do free workshops and people say, well, where is it? And I say, well, it's downtown. And they'll say, I got to park. That's $15. I'll be like, I just saw you buy a $20 scratch-off ticket, okay? So a lot of times people make the assumption that people don't have money. I disagree. It's how they choose to spend their money. If you choose to put $200 sneakers on your kids, that's your choice. You'd rather have a 50-inch TV versus investing in a small business class so you can learn how to take care of yourself. That's your choice. But don't tell me you don't have it. So I want you to start investing in yourself. Not only this class is free, some other classes you might take are not. I'm a business coach. I charge to coach people. You might have to hire a business coach. You might have to hire an accountant. But don't look at it as a cost. Look at it as an investment. Okay? So I want you to do this. But my commitment to you and the Urban League's commitment is we want to help you start and grow your business. We have a program here where I'm going to take you through the night. Some ideas. I'm going to plant some seeds about how to start a business. And some of the things are going to happen to you along the way. Next week, I'm going to talk about how to grow a business, how to market, some of the tough things I know that you think about doing it. But I'm going to coach you. We have coaching here. After this, if you don't have a business plan, we're going to put you through like 4 workshops to show you how to write a plan. But our whole goal is to coach you into business. It can't be that my grandmother was doing it. I mean, they created all these big words. Entrepreneurship is a 4-syllable word. But, hey, how you doing? But the whole fact of the matter is that you can do this. I mean, I've been watching people all over the country do it, and I want you to be able to do it as well. All right? Any questions before I get started? Any comments? Any jokes? Anything? All right, so I'm going to start going through the presentation, and if you have comments or questions during it, just raise your hand, and we'll make it happen. Just so you understand, the sheet that I gave you, after we get through today, I'm going to try to get through this. We're going to work on doing this, because the most important aspect about starting a business is getting that idea out of your head and on the paper. A lot of you have business ideas, but if you keep them in your head, they have a tendency to stay there, and they keep changing. And then you ask your friends about it, and they change it. Okay? So what we're going to try to do today is take our first exercise in getting it out and on the paper, and when you come back next Tuesday, we're going to talk about your ideas. Even if you already have a business, I still want you to write that idea down so we can go through it and talk about it next week, because you'll find out that once you start confessing your ideas and making a commitment to them, they actually start happening. As long as we keep it inside, it stays inside. And the final thing I want to say is we got an election coming in 2016. And so if you ever thought about starting a business, you need to do it now, okay? Because things are going to change dramatically. And it's not just because Obama's getting out of office. Traditionally, any time there's an election year, things change. Funding changes, loyalties change. So if you're not kind of locked into this and got your business started and you develop a good banking relationship and things like that, it's not going to be time to start one then, okay? And you don't have to start when it makes, a lot. You can $500 extra a month, $1,000 a month. You'd be surprised just getting started how things will just start rolling for you. All right?